thank you for joining us at our latest Railway 200 event. We've been overwhelmed by the interest in today. We've definitely exceeded Pixie, but we thank you for joining us. Whether you're involved in railways past, present or future, we are delighted that you've joined us today. I was going to start by saying, can you tell what it is yet? But our comms director is from Australia, she said I'm not allowed to say that anymore. What we're going to do this year is reflect upon the proud history of our railways and the contribution that it's made to our communities, literally enabling them to live, to work and to grow. And we've got many things to celebrate. We have London's oldest station on London's oldest railway, and we have Britain's only domestic high-speed train service. We can celebrate the day trippers and the hop pickers from our past, but also that golden era of luxurious boat train travel with the Golden Arrow and the Blue Train. And we can celebrate our contribution to 2 world wars and the way that the railways with suburban electric travel have helped towns and cities grow. But today, we celebrate the era of Network SouthEast. Now again, I've promised Alison there will be no spurious links to my favourite football team in anything I say this morning. You will be my witness to that. None of my links will be spurious. Through Railway 200, we want people to fall in love with railways again. We want to encourage a whole new generation of talent in our communities to imagine a career in rail. And we want some of those people to come and join us and help write the next chapter in our history as we seek to build a purposeful railway that contributes to economic growth, decarbonisation and social mobility. Stakes are high, but we're up for the challenge. I'd like to begin this morning by introducing our Rail Minister. I'm delighted that Lord Hendy of Richmond Hill has joined us this morning. He's going to share with you some of his hopes and expectations for Railway 200, a nationwide celebration of all that is good about railway. And he might have a word or two to say about Great British Railways. So, Lord Hendy, your Rail Minister.
Right, this is very dangerous because I have no notes. My private secretary will already be in palpitations. It's really nice to see you all. Thank you, Steve. Thank you for that introduction. As you said, I want to say 2 things. Firstly, about Railway 200. So I think it is a great thing to celebrate the birth of the world's first public passenger railway, a great British invention. We can celebrate it in Stockton and Darlington in September, and it's right that they have their own local and regional celebration. But it's also right to celebrate more generally what the railway has done, as Steve says, for the country, and also what it is doing now and what it will do in the future. And if it was just a historical celebration, then we shouldn't spend any money on it, and we should wallow in nostalgia and move on. But that's not what it is, because actually the railway is the means by which we deliver connectivity, which delivers growth, jobs and housing, and it is clearly as important now as it first was in 1825. And indeed, one of the most remarkable things about the last 20 years is the wild enthusiasm of governments of various colours to invest in the railway, because it is widely understood that connectivity does drive growth, jobs and housing, and investing in the railway is a very effective way of doing it. So I think that gives us a good excuse to celebrate, and I'm keen on the past. I'm keen that we recognise the achievements of the Victorians. I'm keen that we celebrate the durability of the railway, as Steve says, through 2 world wars, through the growth of private motoring, the durability of the railway through COVID, and the recovery of it since. But I'm also keen that we celebrate the present day, because the railway is doing what it always did, which is to make the economy work. And also the future. There's a marvellous future in the railway. both for the country in terms of the investment, the jobs it can create, the technology that will be world beating, and also for the people who take those jobs around the country. We need a modern, young, diverse workforce. Quite a big proportion of the railways is over 50, white and male, and actually it can be replaced by people who are representative of the communities that the railway serves, and they can get decent jobs for the rest of their working lives. And I think all of that is really well worth doing. So actually having a bit of fun on the way is a bonus. It's not costing a great deal of public money. We're grateful to all the private sector sponsors who put money in, Malcolm and others, and are contributing to this, and it's a great thing. So that's one reason to celebrate 2025. The other reason to celebrate 2025 is that this government is determined to change the railway. And one of the things I reflect on, I stand up and speak in the Lords about it. I took the public ownership bill through. And whilst there are critics about some parts of what the government proposes to do, the fact remains that actually nobody knows what else to do. The present railway is broken, it doesn't work as well as it should, it costs too much, it's not generating the revenue that it needs, and it certainly doesn't perform as well as it should. And when you ask critics about what the government's proposing to do, I haven't yet met anybody who can say to me, Peter, I've got a really good plan, and it's not the one you're going to put in. And the truth is that actually reunifying the infrastructure and the operations is such an obvious thing to do after 30 years of organisation. What will it give us? It will give us more revenue by better performance, and it will reduce costs. And those are the three things that the railway badly needs to do. Now the other thing I was already talking to Steve about is I care very much about the legislation about GBR. I'll have to take it through the Lords. It will no doubt be politically difficult. Some parts of the railway public ownership bill were difficult. But what I care most about is that the railway works at a level where somebody can be in charge of a piece of it. And what I was saying to Steve is that what I want to see most of all, I do care about the structure of GBR, I'd be wrong to say I don't. But what I want to see at a route and train operating company level, just as I saw at TfL, which culminated in me being in charge of TfL, I want somebody to wake up every morning and think this railway is mine. I want it to perform better, I want it to make more revenue, and I want to reduce the cost of it. And when we get that at the route and train operating company level, as we can do now at Southeastern, then we will start to see a better railway. And I'm so convinced of that, nobody will persuade me otherwise, and nobody's yet tried to. And I think if we can see in the end a new generation of railway people who bring the infrastructure and the operations together, who are truly in charge of it, whose failures and delays meeting this morning is about stopping what happened yesterday from happening tomorrow, so the revenue goes up and the performance is better and the cost is reduced. That will be the real benefit of rail reform. I'm absolutely convinced of it. That is what we're going to do. A lot of the stuff in the consultation for the Railways Bill, which was published last week, is a step along the way to it. But that's what matters the most, because what matters is that the railway works for its customers every morning and every evening and for everybody who travels. And I am really passionate about it. That's a bit of a serious discussion, but this is a good place to have it, because Southeastern has been publicly owned for some time, and the infrastructure, of course, has been publicly owned for 10 years now. And we can do this, and Steve and David Davidson and their colleagues are going to show the way of doing it, because we can do it already. That's all I want to say. That's a bit too serious for this morning. I'll hand you over to other people who've got more history and can have more fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you for those words, Peter. Contrary to the views of some of my team, I don't remember the eras of Brunel and Stevenson. Their numbers aren't in my phone book. I don't remember the late 19th century rivalry between James Forbes of the London, Chatham and Dover Railway and his arch rival Sir Edward Watkin at the Southeastern Railway. My time on the railways began in the 1980s. I left school at the age of 7 to join the railway, and I remember the era of Network SouthEast. As we embark on a new era of public ownership, and as Peter said, of bringing track and train together, and of delivering a railway which is better for customers, better for colleagues, and better for the taxpayer, we really need look no further for inspiration than Mr. Green with unlimited red, white and blue paint in the southeast. Now, I would describe Chris Green as the railway equivalent of Brian Clough. At least one person like that, David. By which I mean a genius that achieves success in many places. In Chris's case, in Intercity, in ScotRail, in Virgin Trains, and of course, in Network SouthEast. So it is a great honour for me to invite Chris Green to address you this morning, to explain the vision behind Network SouthEast and the contribution made to that agenda by the humble networker train. Thank you. Your guest of honour, Chris Green.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everyone. I think we ought to start by congratulating the Minister for coming here to front his Rail 200 event. He's championing this across the country, and I think it's a great initiative. And I think we should thank Steve for using the network of 465 as his big story for heritage on the Southeastern. I think we can all say we love his new colour scheme, very good, and his plan is to make the whole Southeastern look this way in 3 years, and reliably so. Selhurst Depot once let me loose with the painters, painting one of these things by hand. They only allowed me to do it for an hour because I couldn't get that red line horizontal, get diagonal. It's a lot harder to paint as a livery than you might think. So why did we go for this complicated brand? And John Chimelli was on day one with me on the new brand. The brand we saw as the glue that was going to hold the new Network SouthEast together. So we had to get 14 different train companies all combined into one. It had to feel like one railway for London, and it had to feel a lot brighter and cleaner than it was. It was pretty grubby and grey in those days. So I think, John, we still make no apologies for our brash, bright image, which one journalist said as a headline, commuters must bring their sunglasses when they travel next week. And that was what we wanted. We wanted to be noticed. London Transport had achieved it with red buses and red trains all around London. We achieved it with spearmint toothpaste, which seems to work pretty well. Then we had to get our new trains, and at the launch at Waterloo, which is very much like today, the Minister was with us, David Mitchell in those days, another great friend of the railways. Our big announcement was that we were going to have a new fleet of trains. We were going to call them the Networker. They were going to be high-tech, and we wanted 680 of them, please, government. This was the first David Mitchell knew about it, but he didn't blink. And he became a great friend, and 3 years later he came to sign the contract for those new trains in Charing Cross Hotel, in fact in 1989. So in those days we were all on the same page making it happen, and there was a bit more money around. So then we had a design panel to try and make these trains a lot more attractive, because we wanted them to feel like a new start high-tech train. And the high-tech certainly was there. And Larry Shaw was our engineer, sadly no longer with us, but he brought the Derby research technology into it. They were lightweight aluminium trains, much lighter on the track. They had AC traction motors for the first time. They had, what have I forgotten, regenerative brakes, which was another first, and dot matrix indicators. 1986, all those were new ideas. Now it's passé, and we're looking to see where we go from there. Then we handed over to the project team, and we thought the job was done, but of course they had all the problems. And we had a brilliant project manager called Jim Vine, also no longer with us today, and his job was to get this electronic train into traffic and make it interface with all the rest of the engineering around the railway. So it was one huge team, and this is where the unified railway that the Minister wants is so right. We had loads of people who knew what they were doing, we put them in the same room, and they sorted out endless problems for about 4 years. You would think the two different fleets would couple, the rail fleet and the Metro Camel, well just, but they certainly did multiple, and we had blue sparks all over the place when we tried. Hopefully we've solved that today. We thought they would fit into the tunnels, no they didn't, not all of them, and a lot of the tunnels have lost a lot of their bricks since the network arrived. Track circuits had to be changed and power supplies had to be upgraded. But all that was done by one unified network team, and you can depend that for anything you're doing in the future. So, today is all about legacy. The first of these networking trains went into service at Cannon Street in 1992. Jeff Lee is there somewhere, who was our Mr. Kent at that time. He got it into service. And here we are, 33 years later, starting to talk about the fleet being completely withdrawn. There's still about 100 units running around still at the moment, but they're not going to last much longer. And Sophie's going to tell us in a moment what she wants next. And here she is with the minister just wanting to know how many coaches she needs. So we can replay history here. This unit is going to go on a lap of honour around the Kent in the suburban railway over the next few months to remind us of our heritage and celebrate Railway 200. And there's a little bit more legacy looking to the longer term future. There's a new organisation setting up called Friends of Network SouthEast, which Julie Miller, who I've seen around, will wave a hand to it. Julie's setting this up for us. So this is outside supporters for Network SouthEast. You talk afterwards if you want to know more. And Neil Bird, are you here, Neil? There's Neil over there. So there. So Neil bought a 4-sig from Brighton some years ago, and he's restoring it into working order, and it will be a Network SouthEast livery as well. So those are two people who are helping our legacy to keep going. In the meantime, that's enough for me, and just another big thanks to the Minister and to Steve White for making all this happen, and the very best of luck to you all on the South Eastern.
Thank you. This is a railway, so we're going to use two people. I'd like to invite Lord Hendy to come this side and do the honours with the curtain, and I'd love Chris to stand on the other side and watch as we reveal the name. Cameras at the ready, let's name this train.
Hey! Just look to this camera. Didn't he? He was right.